Hello again, everyone. Segovax the Menace here, and welcome back to IRL Lore. Sorry, it's very rainy, but this is the time that I have to record this in, so I hope you just don't mind. Today we will be looking at the so-called Babylonian Primordial Genesis, also called Enuma Elish, after the first two words of the epic, in Babylonian, naturally. This version from the 7th century BC, around there, though the tale is considerably older than this version, dating back to at least the 2nd millennium BC, and likely existing in various earlier forms before that. Which is to say, it was probably more than sufficiently telephone gamed before even getting to these ancient Babylonian transcribers. This is an interesting translation, which comes to us from sacredtexts.com, link in the description. Remember to subscribe to my Patreon for instant access to my entire catalog as I complete it, as well as exclusive content not safe for YouTube censorship policies. Let's dive in. Tablet 1. When in the height heaven was not named, and the earth beneath did not yet bear a name, the primeval Apsu who begat them, and Chaos, Tiamat, the mother of them both, their waters were mingled together, and no field was formed, no marsh was to be seen, when of the gods none had been called into being, and none bore a name, and no destinies were ordained. Straightway a trained eye will notice the similarities to the biblical Genesis. These divided or commingling waters especially so. All that's missing is a reference to a firmament, which, much like henge, seems to just be a word for the thing that we don't know what it is. I'm kidding, I actually have an etymological argument about the meaning of that word, but I'm getting way ahead of myself. Suffice to say for now, that this isn't some just pre-biblical prototype of the story. This probably didn't inspire the Bible. These are two examples of the same story altered by cultural speciation. I propose that the one we're looking at here, which remained in situ and was recorded in the East, in the ashes of what was once Sumeria, is a mirror of the biblical Western Semitic account of these same events, possibly representing the folklore that was carried west by Abraham, whose Sumerian origins and departure prior to the collapse is pretty well accepted fact, even for capital H history. And one more thing. Bear in mind that the events of this story result in the creation of Earth and the solar system as we know it. Considering that cosmic scale, what does the word destiny mean in the context of an orbital body? Well, I think I just said it. Orbit. Anyways, starting back up at line 9. Then were created the gods in the midst of heaven. Lamu and Lahamu were called into being lacuna. Ages increased, another lacuna. Then Anshar and Kishar were created, and over them lacuna. Long were the days, then there came forth lacuna. Anu their son, lacuna. Anshar and Anu, lacuna. And the god Anu, lacuna. Nudimud, whom his fathers, his begetters, lacuna. Abounding in all wisdom, lacuna. He was exceedingly strong, lacuna. He had no rival, lacuna. Thus were established, and were the great gods, lacuna. Yeah, the lacuna fairy has sadly visited this text, as we can see. Lacuna, of course, being the technical term for a break in an ancient text. What small insight I can offer is this. Lamu and Lahamu, along with Anshar and Kishar, seem to be specifically primordial deities. They don't show up in the later events on Earth. Anu and Nudimud, this is not true of. Anu is king of the gods, father of Enlil and Enki, grandfather of Ninurta and Inanna, though the specific genealogy sometimes changes depending on your source, especially the more minute you go. However, this arrangement I mentioned remains fairly constant. Nudimud seems to be that second guy I mentioned, Enki, or at least Nudimud is one of Enki's epithets. And the descriptor they give him here is one that is always applied to Enki, referencing his surpassing wisdom. But I think there's a specific reason we are calling him Nudimud here instead of Enki, which may also have to do with something otherwise lost in translation for us: name prefixes. See, these gods of this specific brand of the most ancient Near Eastern paganism seem to come in two forms, that of Ilu and that of Dingir. Ilu is a Semitic word denoting loftiness, likely deriving from the Sumerian il, meaning to raise, which forms the root of both the Arabic Allah and the Hebrew Elohim, such as appears in Genesis 1:26, when the otherwise singular Lord God lapses into the plural, saying, "Let us make man in our likeness," etc. And it was depicted, Ilu that is, was depicted in cuneiform as something like a stylized cross or star, example on screen now. I can say for certainty that these deities in question here are Ilu by cross-referencing with my favorite textbook, Cuneiform Parallels to the Old Testament by Robert William Rogers, who was apparently able to find his way into a career in linguistics despite being born with what is clearly a pirate's name. Good for him. I can't say for sure what distinction these two prefixes were supposed to highlight, and it's entirely possible these Babylonian transcribers didn't know either. It's possible the last people who had any real idea had been dead for like 1500 years at that point, since about 1800 BC. Because think about it, in the grand scheme, only like 20 generations since the tragic events of the Sodom and Gomorrah / Masala Parva incidents and the beginning of Kali Yuga, it's not that long chronologically, but it may as well be eternity if you're trying to keep the record of incredible historical events straight in the Iron Age nightmare bloodbath of the god's absence you've suddenly found yourself abandoned in. Suddenly having lost the context in which these events could have been explicable anyway. As for that other flavor of God, well, here's an illustration from another book that I like. You can decide what that looks like to you. Okay, line 22. But Tiamat and Absu were still in confusion, lacuna. They were troubled and lacuna. In disorder, lacuna. And Tiamat roared, lacuna. Absu was not diminished in might, lacuna. She smote and their deeds, lacuna. Their way was evil, lacuna. All of these lacunas are from lacuna for the entire rest of that line. It's like we have a little bit at the beginning, then lacuna. Okay, line 29. Then Absu, the begetter of the great gods, cried unto Mumu, his minister, and said unto him, O Mumu, thou minister that rejoicest my spirit, come unto Tiamat, let us go. So they went, and before Tiamat they lay down. They consulted on a plan with regard to the gods their sons. Absu opened his mouth and spake, and unto Tiamat the glistening one he addressed the word, lacuna, their way, lacuna. By day I cannot rest, by night I cannot lie down in peace. But I will destroy their way, I will, lacuna. Let there be lamentation, and let us lie down again in peace. When Tiamat heard these words, she raged and cried aloud, lacuna, she, lacuna, grievously, lacuna. She uttered a curse, and unto Absu she spake, What then shall we do? Let their way be made difficult, and let us lie down again in peace. Mumu answered and gave counsel unto Absu. Lacuna, and hostile to the gods was the counsel Mumu gave. Come, their way is strong, but thou shalt destroy it. Then, by day shalt thou have rest, by night shalt thou lie down in peace. Absu hearkened unto him, and his countenance grew bright, since he, i.e. Mumu, planned evil against the gods his sons. Lacuna, he was afraid, lacuna. His knees became weak, they gave way beneath him, because of the evil which their firstborn had planned. Lacuna, their lacuna, they altered. Lamentation, lacuna, they sat in sorrow. Lacuna, they lacuna. Lacuna, of line 59. Here now we begin to see the central conflict of the story, if only just vaguely through all the lacunae. There almost seems to be some elements of the deluge story in here, a sort of nebulous clamor from the offenders preventing the lofty from getting rest. Which maybe shouldn't be surprising, as the primordial and human geneses were often a package deal with the deluge in these days. This is part of the reason I say this Babylonian version didn't directly influence the biblical one, and posit they're both independently drawing on the same source. This tendency to wrap them all up together in sort of a last time on Dragon Ball Z sort of quick recap. Doesn't that kind of seem like exactly what the biblical Genesis is doing its own version of? Like both the biblical and the Babylonian accounts are trying to compress the mountains of original Sumerian material, now mostly lost or secreted away in the archives of powerful and nefarious religious organizations like the Vatican or Hobby Lobby, compressing them into a quickly digestible spark notes of the last roughly 4.5 billion years of Earth history, or as close as the locals could manage and especially without the lofty ones helping them anymore. You'll see some elements of Anzu's story in here shortly too. They seem to have not made the cut into biblical Genesis. Again, try to recall the elements of the telephone game and how much older Zu is than these tablets. Ninurta worship was like minimum 3 centuries anachronistic by the time this ancient Babylonian transcriber was doing this transcribing. In fact, it's not impossible that he, too, was having his own imagination captivated by Sumerian originals of the myth of Zu, over 1,000 years old and fragmentary even to him, thus inspiring its inclusion here. It's just my guess, but it's plausible. One other thing of note is mention of the Abzu. You may recognize it from mentions in other texts, almost always in relation to either Enki, the lower world, or both, and it seems to denote depth, both in the sense of a deep hole or a profound idea. However, in those contexts, it seems to always be specific, and the clues surrounding it, Sumerian being a highly contextual written language due to its semi-pictographic nature, make the meaning clear. It's always either clearly the region, the lower world, or it's Enki's temple in Eridu of the same name, or occasionally it is the place where wisdom is formed, quote, in the depth of his inmost being, such as it's used in the myth of Zu. And it is always in the context of the humanoid dude who can be present on Earth, which seems distinct from the context of this story. Not Dingir, Ilu, a celestial body whose collisions and interactions may alter the face of a solar system. Line 2 of Genesis, in my good old KJV here, ends with, "And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters." But that last word, waters, is frequently translated differently in different versions. The deep is how I frequently see it, and that's actually more accurate to the meaning of the Hebrew word which appears here in the original. Tehom, meaning deep, like very deep, abyssal even. Could this be the Western Semitic equivalent of the Eastern Semitic Absu we see here? And do you think it's just a coincidence that it has such phonetic similarity to Tiamat? There's more to this, but we'll get back to it later. Moving on, the lacuna get really bad from here for a bit, so please bear with me, I'll try to make it quick. Then Ea, who knoweth all that is, went up and beheld their muttering. Line 61, lacuna. Line 62, lacuna, his pure incantation. Lacuna of an entire line. Lacuna of another line. Lacuna, misery. Just 1, 2, like 23, 25 lines. Totally lacunae, just gone. Lacuna, the god Anu. Line 86, lacuna, an avenger. Lacuna of an entire line. Lacuna, he shall confound Tiamat. Lacuna, he. Lacuna. Lacuna, forever. Lacuna, the evil. Lacuna, he spake. Lacuna, thy lacuna, he hath conquered. And lacuna, he weepeth and sitteth in tribulation. Lacuna of fear. Lacuna, we shall not lie down in peace. Lacuna, Absu is laid waste. Lacuna and Mumu, who were taken in captive. Lacuna. Lacuna, thou didst. Lacuna. Lacuna, let us lie down in peace. Lacuna, they will smite. Lacuna. Lacuna, let us lie down in peace. Lacuna, thou shalt take vengeance for them. Lacuna, unto the tempest shalt thou, Lacuna. And Tiamat hearkened unto the word of the bright god, and said, Lacuna, thou shalt entrust, let us wage war. Lacuna, the gods in the midst of Lacuna, for the gods did she create. They banded themselves together, and at the side of Tiamat they advanced. So Tiamat assembles her host, angry over the Absu, though it is unclear to me specifically why. Is this the uproar that caused the issue before? Tiamat and her seeming ability to sway the other gods from their destinies, I mean? Whatever the case may be, here begins a pretty cool list of Tiamat's minions. Line 110 here. They were furious. They devised mischief without resting, night and day. They prepared for battle, fuming and raging. They joined their forces and made war. Umu Huber, who formed all things, made in addition weapons invincible. She spawned monster serpents, sharp of tooth and merciless of fang. With poison instead of blood she filled their bodies. Fierce, monster vipers she clothed with terror. With splendor she decked them. She made them of lofty stature. Whoever beheld them, terror overcame him. Their bodies reared up, and none could withstand their attack. She set up vipers, and dragons, and the monster Lahamu, and hurricanes, and raging hounds, and scorpion men, and mighty tempests, and fishmen, and rams. They bore cruel weapons, without fear of the fight. Her commands were mighty, none could resist them. After this fashion, huge of stature, she made 11 monsters. Among the gods, who were her sons, inasmuch as she had given her support, she exalted Kingu. In the midst she raised him to power. To march before the forces, to lead the host, to give the battle signal, to advance to the attack, to direct the battle, to control the fight. Unto him she entrusted, in costly raiment, she made him sit, saying, I have uttered thy spell, in the assembly of the gods I have raised thee to power. The dominion over all the gods have I entrusted to him. Be thou exalted, thou my chosen spouse. May thy magnify thy name over all of them, the Anunnaki. She gave him the tablets of destiny, and on his breast she laid them, saying, Thy command shall not be without avail, and the word of thy mouth shall be established. Now Kingu, thus exalted, having received the power of Anu, decreed the fate among the gods, his sons, saying, Let the opening of your mouth quench the fire god. Whoso is exalted in the battle, let him display his might. End of Tablet 1. There's the Anzu parallels, though it doesn't call them the 7 evil demons yet. It will later, and you may recognize the listed attributes of the 7 that Nurgle took with him to the underworld from that text, seemingly the same 7 that Ninurta equipped himself with to confront Anzu. What they're doing appearing here, I can't say. I honestly think it's confusion on the part of the transcriber. I doubt you would see this sort of error in the Sumerian original. Or maybe, I mean, it's possible, my interpretation is incorrect, and you should probably bear that in mind, that that may be true of literally everything I say. Okay, Tablet 2. Tiamat made weighty her handiwork. Evil she wrought against the gods her children. To avenge Apsu, Tiamat planned evil, but how she had collected her forces, the god, Lacuna, unto Ea divulged. Ea hearkened to this thing, and he was grievously afflicted, and he sat in sorrow. The days went by, and his anger was appeased. And to the place of Anshar his father he took his way. He went, and standing before Anshar, the father who begat him, all that Tiamat had plotted he repeated unto him, saying, Tiamat, our mother, hath conceived a hatred for us. With all her force she rageth, full of wrath. All the gods have turned to her. With those whom ye created, they go at her side. They are banded together, and at the side of Tiamat they advance. They are furious. They devise mischief without resting day and night. They prepare for battle, fuming and raging. They have joined their forces and are making war. Umu Hubur, who formed all things. Yeah. At this point, it repeats the list of Tiamat's host verbatim in its entirety, so I'm not going to read that. I'm picking back up like 30 or 50 lines later. Line 49. When Anshar heard how Tiamat was mightily in revolt, Lacuna he bit his lips. Lacuna his mind was not at peace. His Lacuna he made a bitter lamentation. Lacuna battle. Lacuna thou Lacuna. Mumu and Apsu thou hast smitten. But Tiamat hath exalted Kingu. And where is one who can oppose her? Lacuna deliberation. Lacuna the Lacuna of the gods Nudimud. Gap of about 10 lines. Anshar unto his son addressed the word, Lacuna, my mighty hero, whose strength is great, and whose onslaught cannot be withstood. Go and stand before Tiamat, that her spirit may be appeased, that her heart may be merciful. But if she will not hearken unto thy word, our word shalt thou speak unto her, that she may be pacified. He heard the word of his father Anshar, and he directed his path to her. Towards her he took the way. Anu drew nigh. He beheld the muttering of Tiamat, but he could not withstand her, and he turned back. Pretty dang Anzu-ish, right? Like, it seems to be Ea seeking an avenger, certain attempts being made or refused, and in this version, Anu seems to take the role of the arrow unable to approach Anzu's body, only with Tiamat's body. I can't tell you how to interpret this. I'm not sure how I do myself, but I've given you, and I will continue to give you, as much help as I can, but continue as well to encourage you to reach your own conclusions. Line 83. Lacuna Anshar. Lacuna he spake unto him. Lacuna upon me. A gap of about 20 lines. Gap of about 21 lines. I don't know why they say gap of about 20 lines occurs here, and then the very next line is just, the whole line is a lacuna. Why not just say 21 lines here? Okay, lacuna and avenger, lacuna. Lacuna valiant, lacuna in the place of his decision. Lacuna he spake unto him, lacuna thy father. Thou art my son, who maketh merciful his heart. Lacuna to the battle shalt thou draw nigh. Lacuna he that shall behold thee shall have peace. And the Lord rejoiced at the word of his father, and he drew nigh, and stood before Anshar. Anshar beheld him, and his heart was filled with joy. He kissed him on the lips, and his fear departed from him. O my father, let not the word of thy lips be overcome. Let me go, that I may accomplish all that is in my heart. O Anshar, let not the word of thy lips be overcome. Let me go, that I may accomplish all that is in my heart. What man is it who hath brought thee forth to battle? Lacuna Tiamat, who is a woman, is armed and attacketh thee. Lacuna, rejoice and be glad. The neck of Tiamat shalt thou swiftly trample under foot. Lacuna, rejoice and be glad. The neck of Tiamat shalt thou swiftly trample under foot. O my son, who knoweth all wisdom, pacify Tiamat with thy pure incantation. Speedily set out upon thy way. For thy blood, spurious translation there it says, shall not be poured out. Thou shalt return again. I don't know why it's spurious, that sounds right to me. The Lord rejoiced at the word of his father. His heart exulted, and unto his father he spake. O Lord of the gods, destiny of the great gods, if I, your avenger, conquer Tiamat and give you life, appoint an assembly, make my fate preeminent, and proclaim it. In Upshukinaku, seat yourselves joyfully together. With my word in place of you will I decree fate. May whatsoever I do remain unaltered. May the word of my lips never be changed, nor made of no avail. End of Tablet 2. Somewhat similar to Ninurta's departure at the end of the first tablet of the Anzu story, I think. Similar stakes, similar refusals, / failed attempts. Finally, next tablet, we find our avenger. Tablet 3. Anshar opened his mouth, and unto Gaga, his minister, spake the word. O Gaga, thou minister that rejoicest my spirit, unto Lamu and Lahamu will I send thee. Lacuna thou canst attain. Lacuna thou shalt cause to be brought before thee. Lacuna let the gods, all of them, make ready for a feast. At a banquet let them sit. Let them eat bread, let them mix wine. That for Marduk, their avenger, they may decree the fate. Go, Gaga, stand before them, and all that, I tell thee, repeat unto them, and say, Anshar, your son, hath sent me. Go unto them, and repeat unto them all that I say. That's almost verbatim. I mean, maybe, sending a courier with a specific verbal message was pretty common back then, but it does seem very similar to the passing of battle dispatches that appears in the myth of Zu. Continuing. Line 14. The purpose of his heart he hath made known unto me. He said that Tiamat our mother hath conceived hatred for us. With all her force she rageth, full of wrath. Once again here it repeats the formula describing Tiamat's host. Not gonna read it again, we pick back up nearly 50 lines later. Line 53. I sent Anu, but he could not withstand her. Nudimud was afraid and turned back. But Marduk hath set out, the director of the gods, your son, to set out against Tiamat. His heart hath prompted him. He opened his mouth and spake unto me, saying, If I, your avenger, conquer Tiamat and give you life, appoint an assembly, make my fate preeminent, and proclaim it. In Upshukinaku, seat yourselves joyfully together. With my word in place of you will I decree fate. May whatsoever... Yeah, this is the formula that it said before. Hasten, therefore, and swiftly decree for him the fate which you bestow, that he may go and fight your strong enemy. Gaga went, he took his way, and humbly before Lamu and Lahamu, the gods his fathers, he made obeisance, and he kissed the ground at their feet. He humbled himself, then he stood up and spake unto them, saying, Anshar your son hath sent me, the purpose of his heart he hath made known unto me. Once again here it repeats the formula of what Marduk wants in exchange for defeating Tiamat. Line 123. Hasten, therefore, and swiftly decree for him the fate which you bestow, that he may go and fight for your strong enemy. Lamu and Lahamu heard and cried aloud. All of the Agigi wailed bitterly, saying, What hath been altered so that they should lacuna? We do not understand the deed of Tiamat. Then did they collect and go. The great gods, all of them who decree fate, they entered in before Anshar. They filled lacuna. They kissed one another in the assembly. Lacuna. They made ready for the feast. At the banquet they sat. They ate bread. They mixed sesame wine. The sweet drink, the mead, confused their lacuna. They were drunk. With their drinking their bodies were filled. They were wholly at ease. Their spirit was exalted. Then, for Marduk, their avenger, did they decree the fate. That last line, then did they decree the fate. Do you think it has some similar connotations to the make a path, fix the hour lines from Zu? Do you think maybe this story, in its Sumerian form, maybe had an Inerta or a similar character as the personification of this avenging celestial body instead of Marduk? Maybe they blended together as Zu lost its spiritual relevance in the eyes of a modern, well, to us, like 4,000 years old, but to them, a modern audience who is now more interested in the big questions of, like, where did we come from and how do I die right, to care about the bizarre minutiae of this aerial combat story. I don't know, just speculating. And to anyone, this is a tangent kind of connecting to something I said before, to anyone saying, yeah, Sumerian may be contextual, but, like, this isn't written in Sumerian. You're right. It is predominantly not written in Sumerian. However, it does utilize a bunch of the Sumerian alphabet in a way not dissimilar to how a weeb might utilize kanji in a document that is otherwise entirely in English. These transcribers were just weebs for the long-dead Sumeria, so, being long dead, the Sumerians were not there to call them the Sumerian equivalent of Baka Gaijin for getting it wrong. Tablet 4. They prepared for him a lordly chamber. Before his fathers as prince he took his place. Thou art chief among all the great gods. Thy fate is unequaled. Thy word is Anu. O Marduk, thou art chiefest among the great gods. Thy fate is unequaled. Thy word is Anu. Henceforth, not without avail shall be thy command. In thy power shall it be to exalt and to abase. Established shall be the word of thy mouth. Irresistible shall be thy command. None among the gods shall transgress thy boundary. Abundance, the desire of the shrines of the gods, shall be established in thy sanctuary, even though they lack offerings. O Marduk, thou art our avenger. We give thee sovereignty over the whole world. Do you think that line just now, line 12, shall be established in thy shall be established in thy sanctuary, even though they lack offerings. God, try saying that 5 times fast. Do you think they highlight the lack of offerings to point out that there's no humans been made yet? No mortals to put offerings in? Okay, anyways. We give thee O Marduk, thou art our avenger. We give thee sovereignty over the whole world. Sit down in night, be exalted in thy command. Thy weapon shall never lose its power, it shall crush thy foe. O Lord, spare the life of him that putteth his trust in thee. But as for the god who began the rebellion, pour out his life. Which may have some significance to a political disagreement involving a different god that Marduk may be, like, literally responsible for murdering the humanoid, not allegorical, personified celestial body. But I'm getting way off topic, and that's a much more in-depth video for another time. Then they set in their midst a garment. Line 19. Line 20. And unto Marduk, their firstborn, they spake, May thy fate, O Lord, be supreme among the gods. To destroy and to create, speak thou the word, and thy command shall be fulfilled. Command now, and let the garment vanish. And speak the word again, and let the garment reappear. Then he spake with his mouth, and the garment vanished. And he commanded it, and the garment reappeared. When the gods his fathers beheld the fulfillment of his word, they rejoiced, and did homage unto him, saying, Marduk is king. Notice that they use a different word besides destiny here. They use fate, and that reflects a different terminology, a different term in the Sumero-Akkadian text corpus. As far as I can tell, it kind of has the same connotations that the two different words do in English, where destiny refers to, like, kind of the route that you go down. Like, the journey, not the destination, whereas fate is like fatal, like fate implies finality and an end. And so I kind of call bullshit. Like this last bit I just read sounds like typical jealous god, the deceiver, the one who went native, the outer space Colonel Kurtz talking him up to these simple locals. I'd be amazed if this appeared in the original versions that this text is drawing from. I don't remember anything like it in Zoo. But my personal bias against Marduk aside, the text is about to really pick up, describing the celestial battle between the invading Marduk and the host of Tiamat. They bestowed upon him the scepter, and the throne, and the ring. They gave him an invincible weapon, which overwhelmed the foe. Go and cut off the life of Tiamat, and let the wind carry her blood into secret places. After the gods his fathers had decreed for the Lord his fate, they caused him to set out on a path of prosperity and success. He made ready the bow. He chose his weapon. He slung a spear upon him, and fastened it. He raised the club in his right hand, he grasped it. The bow and the quiver he hung at his side. He set the lightning in front of him. With burning flame he filled his body. He made a net to enclose the inward parts of Tiamat. The four winds he stationed so that nothing of her might escape. The south wind and the north wind, and the east wind and the west wind. He brought near to the net the gift of his father Anu. He created the evil wind, and the tempest, and the hurricane, and the fourfold wind, and the sevenfold wind, and the whirlwind, and the wind which has no equal. He sent forth the winds which he had created, the seven of them, to disturb the inward parts of Tiamat. They followed after him. Then the Lord raised the thunderbolt, his mighty weapon. He mounted the chariot, the storm unequaled for terror. He harnessed and yoked it unto 4 horses, destructive, ferocious, overwhelming, and swift of pace. Lacuna were their teeth. They were flecked with foam. They were skilled in Lacuna. They had been trained to trample underfoot. Lacuna mighty in battle. Left and right Lacuna. His garment was Lacuna. He was clothed with terror. With overpowering brightness his head was crowned. Then he set out, he took his way, and towards the raging Tiamat he set his face. On his lips he held Lacuna. Lacuna he grasped in his hand. Then they beheld him. The gods beheld him. The gods his fathers beheld him. The gods beheld him, and the Lord drew nigh. He gazed upon the inward parts of Tiamat. He perceived the mutterings of Kingu, her spouse. As Marduk gazed, Kingu was troubled in his gait. His will was destroyed, and his motion ceased. And the gods, his helpers, who marched by his side, beheld their leaders Lacuna, and their sight was troubled. But Tiamat, Lacuna, she turned not her neck. With lips that failed not, she uttered rebellious words. Lacuna, thy coming as Lord of the gods, from their places have they gathered, in thy place are they. Then the Lord raised the thunderbolt, his mighty weapon, and against Tiamat who was raging, thus he sent the word. Thou art become great, thou hast exalted thyself on high, and thy heart hath prompted thee to call to battle. Lacuna their fathers, Lacuna. Lacuna their Lacuna thou hatest. Lacuna, thou hast exalted Kingu to be thy spouse. Thou hast Lacuna him, that even as Anu he should issue decrees. Lacuna, thou hast followed after evil. And against the gods my fathers thou hast contrived thy wicked plan. Let then thy host be equipped. Let thy weapons be girded on. Stand, I and thou, let us join battle. Man, honestly, I gotta say, that's an even more based challenge. Like, I hate to say nice stuff about Marduk, but that's an even more based challenge than Ninurta offers to Anzu in his text. Okay, line 87. When Tiamat heard these words, she was like one possessed. She lost her reason. Tiamat uttered wild, piercing shrieks. She trembled and shook to her very foundations. She recited an incantation. She pronounced her spell. And the gods of the battle cried out for their weapons. Then advanced Tiamat and Marduk, the counselor of the gods. To the fight they came on, to the battle they drew nigh. The Lord spread out his net, and caught her, and the evil wind that was behind him he let loose in her face. As Tiamat opened her mouth to its full extent, he drove in the evil wind, while as yet she had not shut her lips. The terrible winds filled her belly, and her courage was taken from her, and her mouth she opened wide. He seized the spear and burst her belly. He severed her inward parts. He pierced her heart. He overcame her and cut off her life. He cast down her body and stood upon it. When he had slain Tiamat, the leader, her might was broken, her host was scattered, and the gods, her helpers, who marched by her side, trembled and were afraid, and turned back. They took to flight to save their lives, but they were surrounded, so that they could not escape. He took them captive. He broke their weapons. In the net they were caught, and in the snare they sat down. The lacuna of the world they filled with cries of grief. They received punishment from him. They were held in bondage, and on the 11 creatures which she had filled with the power of striking terror, upon the troop of devils who marched at her lacuna, he brought affliction. Their strength he lacuna. Them and their opposition he trampled under his feet. Moreover, Kingu, who had been exalted over them, he conquered, and with the god Duga he counted him. He took from him the tablets of destiny that were not rightly his. He sealed them with a seal, and in his own breast he laid them. Now, after the hero Marduk had conquered and cast down his enemies, and had made the arrogant foe even like lacuna, and had fully established Enshar's triumph over the enemy, and had attained the purpose of Nudimud, over the captive gods he strengthened his durance. And unto Tiamat, whom he conquered, he returned, and the Lord stood upon Tiamat's hinder parts, and with his merciless club he smashed her skull. Cutting through the channels of her blood, he made the north wind bear it away into secret places. His fathers beheld, and they rejoiced and were glad. Presents and gifts they brought unto him. And here we go, the important bit, line 138 especially. You'll see why in a moment. Line 135 here. Then the Lord rested, gazing upon her dead body. While he divided the flesh of the lacuna, he devised a cunning plan. He split her up like a flat fish into 2 halves. One half of her he stabilized as a covering for heaven. He fixed a bolt, he stationed a watchman, and bade them not to let her waters come forth. He passed through the heavens, he surveyed the regions thereof. And over against the deep he set the dwelling of Nudimud, and the Lord measured the structure of the deep. And he founded Ishara, a mansion like unto it. And the mansion Ishara, which he created as heaven, he caused Anu, Bel, and Ea in their districts to inhabit. End of Tablet 4. And there we have it. From the broken ruin of Tiamat, the earth is born. And here we get our last linguistic connection to the biblical Genesis. If Tehom is kind of a confused cognate for Absu, then I think that the word for covering in line 138 here is the same word as the Hebrew one frequently translated as firmament in English. That word being shamayim. Not similar, not a prototypal form of, the same word with the same root having the same meaning in the same damn story, but independently, separated by hundreds of miles and years between the eastern and western Semitic branches. Only something much more significant than the middle schooler tier atheist argument of people just made up religion for money can account whatever could have convinced all these people of the veracity and importance of such stories, and convinced them to the degree that they're still teaching these stories and stressing their truth and importance generation after generation the world over, even to today. Moving on, Tablet 5. He, Marduk, made the stations for the great gods, the stars, their images, as the stars of the zodiac he fixed. He ordained the year, and into sections he divided it. I might as well just jump in here. This tablet's pretty badly broken, and it does not hold this level of clarity for long. Something of interest, though, is, I think, that this text isn't lying. The zodiac, in pretty much the form that we would recognize it, has always existed. Attested from Sumerian times, it was ancient to these Babylonian transcribers too. Cancer as a crab, Taurus as a bull, the twins are the twins. It's the zodiac. I still don't care, though. I mean, it still seems like art-ho vague spiritualism to me, even if the immeasurably wise Enki himself invented it. Like, oh, she's a Scorpio. We don't cotton to them sort around these parts, sis. It's just racism for women. Alright, line 4. For the 12 months he fixed 3 stars. After he had lacuna, the days of the year, lacuna, images. He founded the station of Nibiru to determine their bounds. A footnote here says Nibiru is the planet Jupiter, which Maybe. But instead of challenging that assertion, I'll just be happy that even the mainstream historiography here acknowledge this text is clearly describing events on solar system scale as credibly as the author's capacity allowed. Line 7. That none may err or go astray. He set the station of Bel and Ea along with him. He opened great gates on both sides. He made strong the bolt on the left and on the right. In the midst thereof he fixed the zenith. The moon god he caused to shine forth. The night he entrusted to him. He appointed him a being of the night to determine the days. Every month without ceasing, with the crown he covered him, saying, At the beginning of the month, when thou shinest upon the land, thou commandest the horns to determine 6 days, and on the 7th day to divide the crown. On the 14th day thou shalt stand opposite the half. When the sun god on the foundation of heaven, lacuna thee. This appears to be jumping in here. This appears to be a description of lunar month, lunar calendar keeping. Because I know that the Sumerians referred to crescent moon as the horned moon. So thou commandest the horns to determine 6 days. Alright, line 20. The lacuna thou shalt cause to lacuna, and thou shalt make his lacuna. Lacuna, unto the path of the sun god, shalt thou cause to draw nigh, and on the lacuna day thou shalt stand opposite the sun god, shall lacuna to traverse her way, lacuna thou shalt cause to draw nigh, and thou shalt judge the right, lacuna to destroy, lacuna me, lacuna. The following 22 lines are taken from K344-9A and probably form a part of the 5th tablet, is what the note says here. It's so badly broken, I'm not even gonna say lacuna, just everything I read out is all that appears in the only line. So starting at 68. From in Isagil to establish the station of the great gods. The gods. Line 74. He took and. Line 75. The gods his fathers beheld the net which he had made. Oh, that's a whole line, and so is this one. Line 76. They beheld the bow and how its work was accomplished. They praised the work which he had done. Lacuna. Yeah, putting in work on them Tiamats. Straight up busters. Grove Street. 78. Then Anu raised the lacuna in the assembly of the gods. He kissed the bow, saying, It is lacuna. Thus he named the names of the bow, saying, Longwood shall be one name. Haha, Longwood. And the second name shall be Lacuna, and its third name shall be Bow Star in heaven. Shall it Lacuna. Line 83. Then he fixed a station for it, Lacuna. Now after the fate of Lacuna. 85. He set a throne, Lacuna. 86. Lacuna in heaven, Lacuna. 87. Yeah. Just lacuna. The following traces of the last 13 lines of the 5th tablet are taken from the reverse of K11-641 and from the reverse of K8526. 128, him. 129, them. 130, him. Again, them. There, lacuna the god spake. 134, the only legible words, the heavens. 135, your son. 136, our lacuna hath he lacuna. It's all totally, he hath cause to live, splendor, not. Line 140, we. Okay, end of tablet 5. Not even sure why they included that last bit. It adds next to nothing. Though I suppose it is still more helpful to have an empty box where something should be, rather than the lack of even the box, and thus the lack, of the awareness that something belonging there is missing. Which is why I included it, despite its tedium. This next tablet is pretty broken. We're on the home stretch. Here you'll see references to the Sumero-Akkadian human genesis story, the one I mentioned earlier, as often being included with this primordial genesis story and the deluge. There's so little to go on here that I won't even try to interpolate from other texts. Which certainly would not be pretending Marduk is the main character anyway, and instead just save it for a separate video covering the anthropogenesis and deluge stories, which will be forthcoming. Keep your eyes peeled. Tablet 6. When Marduk heard the word of the gods, his heart prompted him, and he devised a cunning plan. He opened his mouth, and unto Ea he spake. That which he had conceived in his heart he imparted unto him. My blood will I take, and bone will I fashion. I will make man, that man may lacuna. I will create man, who shall inhabit the earth, that the service of the gods may be established, and that their shrines may be built. But I will alter the ways of the gods, and I will change their paths. Together they shall be oppressed, and unto evil shall they lacuna. And Ea answered him, and spake the word, Lacuna, the lacuna of the gods I have changed. Lacuna and one lacuna. Lacuna shall be destroyed, and men will I lacuna. Lacuna and the gods, lacuna and they, lacuna and the gods, lacuna of a full line, lacuna the gods, lacuna the Anunnaki, lacuna of another full line. The rest of this text is wanting, with the exception of the last few lines of the tablet, which read as follows. Line 140, when lacuna. 141, they rejoiced lacuna. Line 142, in Upshukinaku they set their dwelling. Of their heroic son, their avenger, they cried. See, this sounds a lot like the formula we heard earlier. This is probably the fulfillment of that formula. We whom succored, lacuna. They seated themselves in the assembly. They named him. Yeah, see, like they're now naming him. They cried aloud. They exalted, lacuna. Yeah. End of Tablet 6. Now on to our finale, Tablet 7. Again, the badly broken nature makes it hard to understand, but it seems to possibly be a list of epithets, something like the similarly badly fragmented singing of the praises of Ninurta at the end of the myth of Zu. I'm not sure. I think I've made all my major points already, but I'm gonna read this last one off just to finish the thing proper. Thank you for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, share, and consider supporting me on my Patreon, or at my website, churchoftransphobia.com. Okay, Tablet 7, let's round this out. O Asari, bestower of planting, founder of sowing, creator of grain and plants, who causes the green herb to spring up. O Asaru Alim, who is revered in the house of counsel, who aboundeth in counsel. The gods paid homage. Fear took hold upon them. O Asaru Alim Nuna, the mighty one, the light, the father who begat me. Who directeth the decrees of Anu, Bel, and Yah. He was their patron. He ordained their lacuna. He whose provision is abundance goes forth lacuna. Tutu is he who created them anew. Should their wants be pure, then are they satisfied. Should he make an incantation, then are the gods appeased. Should they attack him in anger, he withstandeth their onslaught. Let him therefore be exalted, and the assembly of the gods let him lacuna. None among the gods can rival him. Tutu is Zi Ukina, the life of the host of the gods, who established for the gods the bright heavens. He set them on their way and ordained their path. Never shall his lacuna deeds be forgotten among men. Tutu as Zi Azag, thirdly they named, the bringer of purification. The god of the favoring breeze, the lord of hearing and mercy, the creator of fullness and abundance, the founder of plenteousness, who increaseth all that is small. In sore distress we felt his favoring breeze. Let them say, let them pay reverence, let them bow in humility before them. Tutu as Aga Azag, may mankind fourthly magnify, the lord of the pure incantation, the quickener of the dead, who had mercy upon the captive gods, who removed the yoke from upon the gods his enemies. For their forgiveness did he create mankind, the merciful one, with whom it is to bestow life. May his deeds endure, may they never be forgotten. In the mouth of mankind whom his hands have made. Tutu as Mu'azag, fifthly, pure incantation, may their mouth proclaim. Who through his pure incantation hath destroyed all the evil ones. Shag Zu, who knoweth the heart of the gods, who seeth through their inmost part. The evildoer he hath not caused to go forth with him. Founder of the assembly of the gods, who lacuna their heart. Subduer of the disobedient, lacuna. Who rebellion and lacuna. Tutu as ZC, the lacuna, who put an end to anger, who lacuna. Tutu as Su Kur, thirdly, the destroyer of the foe. Who put their plans to confusion, lacuna, who destroyed all the wicked, lacuna. Lacuna let them, lacuna. The following lines are taken from the fragment K12830, but their position in the text is uncertain. He named the four quarters of the world, mankind he created. Yeah, all these lines are unnumbered. And upon him understanding, lacuna. Lacuna of a full line, Tiamat. Lacuna of another full line, distant, May. The following lines are taken from the fragment K13761. Line 10, Lacuna of a full line. The mighty one Lacuna. Agi, I Lacuna. The creator of the earth, Lacuna. Zulumu, Lacuna. The giver of counsel and of whatsoever Lacuna. Mumu, the creator of Lacuna. Mulil, the heavens, Lacuna, who for Lacuna. Gishkul, Lacuna, who brought the gods to naught, Lacuna. Lugal Ab, who in Lacuna. Pap, Lacuna, who in Lacuna. Lacuna of an entire line. These following lines are taken from the fragment K8519, and it's The following lines are taken from the fragment K8519 and its duplicate K13337. This portion of the text was not separated by much from that preserved by K13761. Lacuna of two lines. Lacuna the chief of all lords, Lacuna supreme in his might. Lugal Durma, the king of the band of the gods, the lord of rulers, who is exalted in a royal habitation. Who among the gods is gloriously supreme? Adununa, the counselor of Ea, who created the gods his fathers, unto the path of whose majesty no god can ever attain. Lacuna in Dul Azag he made it known. Lacuna pure is his dwelling. The Lacuna of those without understanding is Lugal Dul Azaga. Lacuna supreme is his might. Lacuna there, Lacuna in the midst of Tiamat, Lacuna of the battle. The numbering of the following lines is based on the marginal numbers upon tablet number, I presume. 91139 plus 93073. 105, Lacuna hymn. 106, Lacuna the star which shineth in the heavens. 107, may he hold the beginning and the future. 1, may they pay homage unto him, saying, he who forced his way through the midst of Tiamat without resting. Let his name be Nibiru, the Caesar of the midst. For the stars of heaven he upheld the paths. He shepherded all the gods like sheep. He conquered Tiamat. He troubled and ended her life. In the future of mankind, when the days grow old, may this be heard without ceasing, may it hold sway forever. Since he created the realm of heaven and fashioned the firm earth, the Lord of the world, the Father Bel hath called his name. This title which all the spirits of heaven proclaimed, did Ea hear, and his spirit was rejoiced. And he said, he whose name his fathers have made glorious, shall be even as I. His name shall be Ea. The binding of all my decrees shall he control, all my commands shall he make known. By the name of 50 did the great gods proclaim his 50 names. They made his path preeminent. Once again, Nibiru pops up there. Is Marduk Jupiter, Nibiru, the planet, and the humanoid guy who will show up later on Earth? I find that hard to believe. Call me faithless. Epilogue. The text does not say where these lines appear, so, yeah, let's just see how they rock out. 125. Let them be held in remembrance, and let the first man proclaim them. Let the wise and the understanding consider them together. Let the father repeat them and teach them to his son. Let them be in the ears of the pastor and the shepherd. Let a man rejoice in Marduk, the lord of the gods, that he may cause his land to be fruitful, and that he himself may have prosperity. His word standeth fast. His command is unaltered. His utterance of his mouth hath no god ever annulled. He gazed in his anger, he turned not his neck. When he is wroth, no god can withstand his indignation. Wide is his heart, broad is his compassion. The sinner and evildoer in his presence, Lacuna. They received instruction, they spake before him. Lacuna unto Lacuna. Lacuna of Marduk may the gods Lacuna. May they Lacuna his name Lacuna. They took, lacuna, they took, and lacuna. Line 142 missing. The end. Woof. Thank you all for sticking around. Yeah. I don't have any like last special wisdom to leave you besides with we just don't know what the truth is here. We can't say for sure what all this means. The only thing that we can say with absolute 100% certainty is that it was aliens.